I can't perceive you if the purchase stocks now. For the most part, one believe you really should say cash. Whether you put it in the securities exchange, I don't believe is horribly significant. I believe assuming you're keen on stocks, you ought to get it. What's more, you have a little capital, you ought to purchase a couple. That is to say, I believe there's no approach to finding out about them better than encountering doing it on papers at something very similar. I can promise you in the event that you lose cash on paper or lose genuine cash, it's an alternate encounter. Thus I think you'll get familiar with yourself assuming you do it that way. I purchased my first stock when I was 11. In reality, I was at Rose Hill at that point, and I purchased 3 portions of city administration liked at 38. Also, it went down to 27, which is something I actually recall despite the fact that I was 11 at that point. And afterward it went up to 14 and I sold it. I made $5 on my 3 offers after commissions, and afterward it went to 200 and something. So I likely recollect that little better than if I'd been doing it on paper. What's more, I wasted time doing a ton of things between about age 11 and 19 and the financial exchange. I did diagrams, I did a wide range of specialized examination. I read each book I could get regarding the matter, and I didn't do that. Indeed, I didn't do horrendous, however at that point I was simply struggling near. However, that implied by the age of 19, when I read Ben Graham's book, I was at the College of Nebraska and I proceeded to purchase this book called The Savvy Financial Backer, just come out, and it colossally affected me. So I was prepared to acknowledge it. Also, I really returned and went to Columbia to concentrate under Graham, and in view of perusing that book, and a wide range of things streamed out of it. So I would empower you in the event that you're keen on the field to do a couple of things. I actually attempt and make them as smart as could be expected. I would attempt to stay with things, organizations I thought I comprehended. I actually escaped that piece of paper and I'd compose I'm doing this in light of the fact that, and simply test my thinking. And afterward I return and read it a year after the fact and see whether your thought process would be valid, ended up being valid. So I would continuously look at myself. I put stock in reviewing myself on everything. You know, specialists have postmortems, and they do this on the grounds that they gain from postmortems, and finance managers could do without to do postmortems. I can be on the leading body of an organization and they're going to building plants or purchasing organizations. And afterward every 1 to 2 years after the fact to run up aware of how that choice ended up, in light of the fact that it very well may be unsavory. However, you gain from postmortems and you would rather not gain its direction, better to gain from others' mix-ups than your own. Yet you need to gain from your very own couple as well. Well, those are difficult inquiries, yet that shouldn't accept our eye off the ball and feeling we ought to take care of business. I represent this issue here and there to individuals. I say, how about we accept that it's 24 hours before you're conceived? And every one of you can step through this examination 24 hours before you're conceived. What's more, that genie comes to you. According to What's More, the JD, Joe says, you look pretty encouraging to me. I think you have sort of a feeling of fair play and a decent psyche. As I will allow you to have a remarkable open door. I will allow you to plan the world into which you will be brought into the world in 24 hours. It's yours. You select the political standards. You choose the financial principles, you select the social standards, you plan the world. Furthermore, when you're brought into the world in 24 hours, you will be naturally introduced to that world. What's more, that is the world that is going to only for your lifetime, for your youngster's lifetime, for your grandkid's lifetime. Furthermore, you haven't known about a portion of these genie jokes in the past. Would agree, what's the trick? The genie said, indeed, it's an extremely slight catch. As in when you're brought into the world in 24 hours, you will arise in this world you planned. Be that as it may, what you don't know is whether you will be conceived dark or white, male or female, rich or poor, more splendid or impeded, capable or decrepit, in the United States or Afghanistan. All you know is that you will venture into this barrel, which presently has 6 billion balls. As we probably are aware, addressing one individual, each individual on the planet, and you will take an interest in what I call the ovarian lottery. You will remove one ball from that barrel and you're never going to get another ball. That is you're at one ball and presently you will blend now, what sort of rules you need to have for that society. Not realizing which ball you will get. Now that I put you as the manner in which I figure individuals ought to contemplate social approach. What's more, assuming you're conceived, in the event that you're adequately fortunate to be brought into the world in this country, you walked away with that sweepstakes as of now. Yet we ought to have a framework in my view that supports the Jack Welches and the Bill Doors and all of that to work a long ways past, when it has any monetary importance to them. We need individuals directing those assets who are very ready to instructing them. That is the way of life pushes ahead. So we ought to need, and I wish I had one Tom Osborne training in Nebraska. Would it be advisable for one, we ought to need Bill Doors planning programming, and we would rather not stir up those two. We would rather not get bail training at Nebraska. So you need individuals, you need a framework that gets individuals to their potential. Also, I feel that it has the will to do that in an overall manner. Albeit like I said, there've generally been bunches of fits and starts. So there is no deficiency in the United States of assets. There's no deficiency of result. You must have a framework that urges individuals to act to the furthest reaches of their capacities and places them perfectly located. However, at that point you need to ensure that everyone gets taken current to. Something like 7%, yet financial backers, that is what, assuming no one did anything. On the off chance that we only all here sat and purchased corporate American together, anything offer and we never exchanged with one another, our mindless conformity would average something like 7% in that climate where nothing actually decisively different. Presently on the grounds that American financial backers have been instructed to think they need to move around constantly, and you need to offer to the individual close to you and they need to offer to another person. Financial backers cause what I call frictional expenses. You cause them on you purchase a shared asset and there's an administration charge, maybe in a credit expense you bring about them when you purchase stocks separately. There's a wide range of frictional expenses in the framework. Those frictional expenses, presumably for financial backers, all in all come to something like 1% every year. You can hold them down yourself. The frictional expense of someone that claims his own Berkshire for a long time has been basically Zopa. They've paid the little commission once and the executive's charges are low. So it doesn't need to be like that. But since stocks are taken a gander at such a lot of like being in a gambling club for such countless individuals, the American public in general will bring about these 1% frictional expenses. So that 7%, assuming that turned out to be the figure, it accurately will transform into 6% for the American public overall. What's more, 1% will spill away to venture administrators and intermediaries and individuals who sell counsel, and a wide range of frictional expenses. Whenever you consider it, that is a really robust take. It's 1 out of 7. It'd be 14% of the profits from business. However, that is my most realistic estimation with respect to what will occur. You can hold your own frictional expenses down and let another person pay much more of the frictional expenses. You both compensation something. In the event that you simply hold on, the organizations will bring in the cash that they make and that will all have a place with you. However, in the event that you move around a ton, it will have a place with individuals who either encourage you to move around or shepherd you starting with one seat then onto the next. Throughout an extensive stretch of time, markets will act basically like they've generally made more often than not. They will esteem organizations in a sensible reach, and they will go off the deep end occasionally on the potential gain and drawback. In 1974, they went thoroughly off the deep end on the drawback. Well, in the event that you can't really accept that how modest significant organizations got in the period like 74 organizations, we're doing fine. The Washington Post organization sold on the lookout, the entire organization for $80 million. On the Washington Post, and those papers don't get more fit. Get on for extraordinary enormous organization TV slots, remembering one for Washington and one in Miami, one in Jacksonville, one Oxford. It had half interest in Bowater Kindness paper, 800,000 sections of land of timberland. It had third revenue in Worldwide Herald Tribune, didn't have a clue about any cash to talk, $80 million. It's a joke around then. You might have reported that you plan to hold a bartering of their properties in the Atlantic Sea at 2 a.m. Furthermore, presently it's most likely near a large portion of the world's market. So you don't actually require the remainder of the world to check it out. At the end of the day, when you own Coca-Cola, you're having above and beyond 66% of your profit going over to the United States, the same way with Gillette, whatnot. So if you have any desire to extend your universe, nothing bad can really be said about it, yet you've been. The United States will in all actuality do above and beyond the following 30 or 40 years. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumb up and share with your friend. Thank you for watching.